All right, so in our last session, we built a really solid React Native app. But today we're going to give it a superpower. I'm talking about the ability to fetch live data right from the internet. Seriously, this is the skill that separates a simple little project from a real-world dynamic application. So let's get started.
You know, if you think about our app right now, it's kind of like a printed book, right? The content is just there. It's static, it's fixed. But what if we could turn it into a live news feed that's always pulsing with new information? Well, that is our goal today.
And that's exactly what we're about to do. We are going to build a bridge between our app and the massive world of data that's out there on the internet. This one step, I promise you, is what elevates a project from just a prototype to a powerful real-world application.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll quickly cover why APIs are so crucial. Then we'll actually build the screen itself. After that, we'll dive into the code and see what makes it all tick. Then, of course, we'll make sure you can actually get to that screen in our app. And finally, we'll talk about the awesome new superpower you've just unlocked. Okay, let's start with the why. Think about any of your favorite apps. Instagram, Twitter, your weather app. They don't have all their data just bundled up inside them, right? No way. They're constantly reaching out to servers to grab the latest photos, the latest updates, the latest forecast. That connection is an API. And that's the bridge we're building today. The bridge from static to dynamic.
But here's the thing. Fetching data isn't just about the happy path, where everything works perfectly. A truly great app gives the user a great experience no matter what happens. That means we need a solid plan for 3 different situations. The loading state while we're waiting for data, the error state if something breaks, and of course, the success state where we get to show off our data.
All right, time to roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty. The foundation for all this new logic is going to live in one new file. Let's go ahead and create API screen.js and just stick it right inside our screens folder. Okay, deep breath. I'm about to show you the entire chunk of code for this screen all at once. Don't freak out. It might look like a lot, but I promise we're going to break this down piece by piece. For now, just kind of soak it in and get a feel for the overall structure. All right, let's pull back the curtain and see how the magic happens. We're about to dissect the key React hooks and JavaScript tricks that make all of this data fetching goodness possible.
So first up is use state. Honestly, the best way to think about this is that it gives our component a memory. That's it. It lets it remember things. We're going to use it to create 3 little memory slots, one for each of our scenarios, one to hold the actual data, one to remember if we're loading, and one to keep track of any errors.
Next up, uEffect. This hook is basically our trigger. It lets us say, hey, as soon as this screen shows up on the device, run this specific piece of code. And what code is that going to be? You guessed it, our data fetching function. For anyone coming from the iOS world, this is a lot like Vue did load. Now, the real heart of our logic is built around this beautiful try, catch, finally block. It's such a clean way to handle things. We try to fetch the data. If that goes wrong for any reason, we catch the error and deal with it. And then, no matter what happens, success or failure, we finally make sure to turn off that loading spinner. It's a simple pattern, but it is incredibly robust.
So what's the user seeing while all this is going on behind the scenes? Well, whenever our loading state is set to true, we just show a simple spinner. This is so important for a good user experience. It tells them, hey, hang on, the app is working on it, which is way better than a screen that just looks frozen.
But hey, what if the internet connection drops or the server is down? That's when our catch block jumps into action and sets our error state. We can then show a nice, clear error message. Handling failures gracefully like this is really what separates the amateur apps from the professional ones. And at last, the moment we've all been waiting for. Success. Once that data finally arrives and we're done loading, our component re-renders and displays the content we just pulled directly from the API. And just like that, we brought live dynamic data from the internet right into our app. How cool is that? Excellent. So, our screen works great, but right now, it's basically an island, completely disconnected from the rest of our app. The next step is absolutely crucial. We need to build a bridge to it by plugging it into our navigation system. Now, you might think this part is going to be complicated, but it's surprisingly easy. We're just adding a new stop on our app's roadmap. All we have to do is open up appnavigator.js, import our new API screen, and add one single line to our Stack Navigator. Boom! Just like that, our app now knows this screen exists. The final piece of the puzzle is to actually give the user a way to get to this new screen. So we'll just pop into our homescreen.js file and add a new button. When that button gets pressed, it'll just call navigation.navigate and whisk the user right over to our shiny new API screen.
And there you have it. You have officially unlocked a developer's superpower, integrating live APIs. This is a fundamental skill that opens up a whole universe of possibilities for the apps you can build. Let's just quickly recap everything we managed to pull off.
I mean, think about what we just did. We built a brand new screen from scratch. We used modern JavaScript with async await to fetch real data. We built a robust user experience by handling both loading and error states. We displayed that live data, and we wired it all up seamlessly into our app's navigation. That is a huge amount of progress in a very short time.
To put it simply, we've just supercharged our app. It now has a complete, professional API integration. This is a massive, massive step forward in your React Native journey. So fetching one single piece of data is awesome. It's a great start. But what happens when an API sends you back a whole list of items, maybe hundreds or even thousands of them? How do you display all of that information efficiently without making your app grind to a halt? Well, that is the challenge we're going to tackle in our next explainer. See you then.